He's ever so curious, isn't he, on the sundial, watching everything I'm doing. This year I've been collecting some seedlings and saplings from my own garden, and the first thing I've got is some rock roses that make rose hips, which of course have got culinary use. Then I've got some other saplings here, which I believe are hybrids from plum trees in the garden, taking a number of years for the saplings to appear. And then next, an unusual plant, an aronia. This has been about 10 years, and they're quite spindly saplings, these ones, about 3 of them here in one pot. Also called a chokeberry, known to the Vikings, so they can go down. The aronia, 3 sets of them. The next one, which difficult to find in my garden, but I've got it eventually, if you're coming close on that, that is a filbert, which is needed for cross-pollinating a Kentish cob. Now the Kentish cob nut and the filbert, the nuts, sort of like hazelnuts, very popular with squirrels, so you have to eat them before the squirrels get to them. That's worked well. That's another aronia there, and also the quinces did quite well. Canelames, I think they're called. I didn't eat any of them or do anything with them this year, but already in, well, it's now early March, but in February these started flowering. I've got a number of these quinces, the sort of ground hugging variety rather than the trees, in the garden, and they seem to do quite well here. So that's been my jobs over the last couple of days, getting these out of the ground. Here we have with the quince split open. You can see it's a nice selection of seeds there to choose from to plant on, and see what we get from these quinces. Got a few of these quince plants in the garden, canelames. As you can see, some of the flowers are just coming out now, and I've left the quinces over winter, picked up a few, noticed they've got some seeds, and I thought, well, let's have a go at propagating them. So I'm going to put some compost in. The seeds have been left out in the winter. The quinces are a lot softer than they were obviously in the autumn, so it's time to have a go at sowing some and see how we get on then. This is a tayberry, and it's a little cutting I took when I first got it. I always try to see if a cutting off the original plant I bought will take, and it seems to have taken well. And then next to that, quite spindly, see it's a bit caught up there in a black one, but that's a spindly plant there with those little green leaves just coming out of bud, is actually a goji berry. And they seem to transplant extremely well if you try them. I've just not been very successful with the crops. I think it's just down to infection. This is known as twisted hazel, and you do get nuts from this particular plant, and it has grown quite well here. The main trunk on this is this one here. Follow it down, as you can see, it's very contorted. I've been in for about, I don't know, good sort of 8 years in the garden. I really do like things like this. It's really quite a weird plant. This is my berries plant, which produces yellow flowers and then goes into produce large blue fruits, which after cooking I believe are edible, and it's very thorny, but that's the first specimen I've ever had of this. And I've got 2 Kentish cob nuts here. These are saplings, they're ready to go to be transplanted down the allotment. And next to that I've got an apple, which is a little sapling grown from seed. I don't have to see how that goes on, but I should be able to get some seeds from these crab apples. The crab apple has been very successful, and I'd like to have a few down the allotment, popular with blackbirds and I think song thrushes, and the trees growing quite well in my garden, as you can see it there. And there's a crab apple there. So there you go, amongst all that pulp, these are the crab apple seeds, and I'll have a go at seeing if I can grow some of these from seed. They've been overwintered and plenty of frost on them. I've not picked the ones from the ones that have totally mummified because they've turned black. These are the ones that are still yellow and mushy but have had plenty of frost. I do believe the seeds do need frost and cold in order to force germination, but we'll see how they get on. I'll just put them in the compost. I've drilled some holes in the bottom of this container and I'll watch and wait and see what happens with the crab. This year I decided to have a go at growing some new berries, and one of the first ones is going to be something called juice honeyberry, and you need a pair of them. Took me a while to find these, so got one there. I've just potted it up, so I'll keep it in the pot for this year. And then its sister plant is this one here. I'm still carrying on with the experiment to do with the figs. Don't know how it'll get on. This one next to me here is cuttings I had to take from a plum tree, because a tree surgeon decided to go into my garden and cut a load of trees down. He was in our neighbours and chainsawed a load of mine. So anyway, I saved what I could of what had been chopped. Got some more fig cuttings there, which are doing well, and then in the experiment I've carried on here with fig cuttings underneath the cover here, and you can see that they seem to be alive still, but I don't know what's going to happen, whether they're going to carry on out of bud. The onions this year, the sets I've got are Turbo, which is supposed to be a full flavoured large onion, and I decided to just get one set of Stuttgarter, because that seems to do well where I am on the heavy clay soils. And then the other thing I did, as I got all three little all gold raspberries. These are autumn fruiting variety, and the ones I've got at the moment, which was there when I took over my plot, they were sort of running to sort of loads of little seedlings and saplings, if you like. At the bottom I transplanted them to the front. They're summer fruiting. I've got three sets of seeds I've sown here. I've got quince seeds, which I've taken from some plants that's been subjected to frost over the winter, and the other set of seedlings I put in here are from crab apples, and they're a yellow variety and the birds love them, and I've basically just split the soft yellow fruit to get the seeds out after they've been subjected to frost, and then there's another set of quince seeds put there. So there's my projects to keep me going. That's a couple of blackcurrant cuttings from the back. He always seems to be following me around, or he or she, I think they're collecting nesting material in the garden. So apparently the male feeds the female.